Today's video is going to be 3 recipes for some mixes that I love to keep on hand. The biscuit mix yields these light and fluffy Southern style biscuits, which go great with the sausage gravy, and because it's freeze-dried sausage, it's shelf stable too. The muffin mix can turn into almost any flavor. Y'all, these mixes are so yummy. I hope you love them. Well, hi there, everyone. My name is Kareth. I'm a wife, a mom, an author, and a cook. On this channel, I like to create recipes using freeze-dried food. Sometimes it's completely shelf-stable, like a meal or a mix in a jar. Other times, I combine freeze-dried with fresh, but all the time, it's delicious. I'm here to help people who have freeze-dried food on their shelves to know how to cook with it. I test out recipes so you don't have to. Welcome to the Freeze-Dried Foodie. Hey friends, I need to restock my pantry today. I am almost completely out of my biscuit mix, and this is a just add water mix. And you can make just 1 biscuit at a time if that's what you are wanting to do. I'm also completely out of my sausage gravy mix to go with the biscuits. And yes, it's a sausage gravy mix. Because I'm using freeze-dried ingredients in these mixes, the sausage is actually in the gravy already. So yeah, that is an amazing one to have on hand. If you're a Southern gal and you love your biscuits and sausage gravy, these mixes are fantastic to keep on your pantry shelf. You can make as much or as little of these mixes as you need at the time. It's super convenient if I just, need to feed 1 person. So I love having these mixes. I'm also going to be making some of my muffin mix. And I like to have that on hand because I am making mug muffins, which is 1 muffin at a time, like a mug cake, but this is a mug muffin, and you can make customizable flavors, and you can do just 1 at a time if that's what you want to do. Or you could make a batch and make 8 or 9 muffins, in a muffin tin in the oven too. Of course, you could do that as well. So anyway, join me today. I think this will be fun, and I'll show you how I restock my pantry. I'm just going to start with my biscuit mix here and show you how I put that together. What I'll do is up on the screen, I'll put a list of the ingredients that you'll need to make this, and then I will put the full recipe and all the exact measurements that I use down in the description box below the video, and I'll do that for all the recipes today. Now I like to get out my flour and just give it a nice little stir. I like to fluff it up just a little bit. I think it helps if you do level it off, just so you know how many cups of flour you're actually getting in there. I probably should do a scale. I haven't broken down and bought one of those yet, but yeah, so in goes 5 cups of flour. And you know what I did? And I probably shouldn't have done it, but I tripled the recipe. This is because I wanted to make a good amount of mix. So I tripled the recipe. And my poor little food processor, it was just overflowing just about. It was probably too much to put in there. So note to self, next time I make this, I'll probably do a double recipe and then just do it again. And that way I'll have a quadruple recipe that I can put into my container, but hopefully I won't overload my food processor. All right, so I'm just spooning out ingredients and putting them into the food processor. And what I like to do first is put all of the dry ingredients in there and give it a little bit of a pulse and just, mix those dry ingredients before I put in the fat. Now, my favorite fat to put in there, if you've seen my videos, my previous videos, I love to use lard. I think it gives you super flaky and tender, wonderful biscuits. They are a little bit crusty on the outside and really pillowy soft in the middle. Lard biscuits are just the best things ever, but I understand not everybody is comfortable with lard. Maybe you should try it. I'm just saying. You can buy it in the oil section of the grocery store. I get mine at Walmart. But if you don't like lard or don't want to use lard and you're a shortening person, then you can use shortening instead if you like. Now here's the deal, guys. Since you've already included the fat in the mix, you are going to need to use this within probably 3 or 4 months. You can keep it on the counter, it's fine. But if you don't use it all up within that time period, just go ahead and stick it in the fridge, just so the fat won't go rancid on you. And this is a page from my second cookbook. I converted that recipe that I just showed you into a jalapeno cheddar biscuit by adding some, jalapenos and some cheddar. And it's so good. All right, y'all, you know me. I'm not just gonna give you a recipe without actually making it for you. So here we go. I'm gonna mix up just enough for 2 biscuits, so like 1 serving. And I have on my little instructions to add 1/4 cup of water, but I always go a little bit less on that. So it depends on the weather, it depends on a lot of stuff, but I usually start out with maybe 3 tablespoons. And I think this day I ended up adding about 3.5 tablespoons. And then you'll have to get your hands in there. You'll flour your surface, flour your hands, and then you just kind of pat it out and fold it a couple of times. And all you're doing here really is adding some layers in the biscuit that'll create a nice kind of middle for you to be able to split your biscuit and put some butter in there or jelly or whatever you're going to do with it. So this will make 2 biscuits. I cut mine in half and then I decided to squeeze in the sides and make them round. You can make whatever shape biscuits you like. You could definitely just bake some rectangle biscuits or square biscuits. Totally up to you. But I do like to keep them somewhere around maybe 3/4 of an inch high. I don't like to get them too thin. I like a taller biscuit. So anyway, those are ready to bake. You can bake them in the oven. You can put them in a toaster oven. I'm putting them in my air fryer. I didn't even know you could do this. I looked it up on the internet and they said, yeah, you can make biscuits in the air fryer. So I ended up putting mine at 375 and I cooked those for 8 minutes. Or actually, I think I took them out at about 7 minutes. Yeah, a little bit more than 7 minutes. I took mine out because they were smelling so good. And I thought, yeah, that looked great. I did paint the tops of those biscuits with a little bit of butter and it helped with the browning. Y'all, my biscuits were fantastic. They were really soft in the middle, really fluffy. So I hope you can see how gorgeous they are in the middle. Now what I want to do is smother those with my sausage gravy. So let me show you how I make that. Here's a list of the ingredients you'll need for it on the screen. I am going to be using freeze-dried sausage crumbles. You see me using Thrive Life ingredients. I love my Thrive Life, and I am so sad they're going out of business. So y'all have to let me know what brand y'all use for things like instant milk and sausage crumbles, because I've only ever bought Thrive Life. All right, so this sausage gravy mix is from my first cookbook. I got made fun of online because of the lack of sausage that I actually put into this mix. So y'all feel free to double the amount of sausage, okay? I've got 2 cups of flour and I'm putting in 2 cups of sausage, but that's really not very much sausage. So if y'all want more sausage, just feel free to double that amount. Now this is how I like my gravy seasoned, is with salt, pepper, red pepper flakes, and cayenne pepper. The sausage I'm putting in, although it's full of flavor, it is not at all spicy. And my husband and I both like a spicy sausage. And yeah, this is great sausage. It's just, there's no spice to it. As far as heat spice, there's flavor spice, but there's not heat spice. So that's why I put some cayenne and some red pepper flakes. And I did put that in the blender and pulsed it a couple of times just because I like to break up a few of those pieces of sausage. If not, they're just all in this uniform nugget shape. And I like some variation. So I put in the blender, but that's optional. So if you use just the 2 cups of sausage, this will fit into a quart-sized jar. So that's what you see right there. But if you like more sausage in your sausage gravy, then you'll have to bump up to like a half gallon if you do the recipe as it's written in the description box below. I developed this recipe a couple years ago, and it's actually in my first cookbook. Whenever you're ready to make this, you'll need to get out a skillet and put it on medium heat. Melt some sort of fat. Now I use butter. You could use bacon grease. You can use whatever kind of oil you like, however you like to make your gravy. And you're going to make a roux, and you'll need to have a whisk out. And you definitely want to brown your roux a little bit because raw flour does not taste good, but toasted flour tastes amazing. So toast that flour and then add the water. So this is really a just add water mix. I mean, once you've melted your fat, you just add water after that. And I did not speed this up. I want to show you exactly how long it takes for this to thicken. And spoiler alert, not long. It's starting to thicken already. I've got this on medium heat and I've got my whisk out because nobody likes lumps in their gravy. Y'all, whisk, whisk, whisk. No lumps in your gravy. But look how fast it is already thickened up. Isn't that great? This instant gravy mix is so wonderful. It tastes perfect. I don't think you'll have to adjust the seasonings at all. I mean, you can if you like your sausage gravy to taste different. You feel free to do that, but it's good as written. It's just so convenient to keep on hand. Now, if you want it a little bit creamier, you can add some half and half or some heavy whipping cream. That's what I did here, but you don't have to. It's really good the way it is. I like a little extra sometimes. So I added it. I had it and I thought, yeah, I'll add it. So it just needs to simmer on like low for probably 8 to 10 minutes, just long enough for that sausage to completely rehydrate. You don't want like little crunchy sausages in your sausage gravy. So it just needs to go on low and just have enough time to refresh that sausage. And then it's ready to put on your biscuits. I ended up using about a half a cup of mix and probably maybe 3 tablespoons of butter. So that was enough gravy for 2 people. So for 4 biscuits, you could make as little or as much as you need. And oh my goodness, isn't that just gorgeous? Absolutely love these 2 mixes. The sausage gravy, of course, you could just do that on its own. The biscuits, you could do them on their own. You could serve the biscuits with like butter and jam. You could put apple butter on there. You could get a sausage patty, some scrambled eggs, whatever it is you like, however you like to serve your biscuits. Or they could just be a side for, a different dish. It's so awesome to have this biscuit mix that is a just add water mix, and then it's ready and you have homemade biscuits in no time flat. It's fantastic. I love this recipe, and I love the sausage gravy to go along with it. Oh, also, if you don't want to make sausage gravy, if you want to just make cream gravy, all you have to do is leave out the sausage, and you would have a cream gravy mix. And it's way better than anything you can get at the grocery store in those packets. We didn't put anything weird in here, right? You saw the ingredients I put in there. It's fantastic. Just look at the top of that biscuit, y'all. And then the interior, isn't it just fluffy and so pretty? Y'all, I'm telling you, they're so tender and so perfect. I really hope y'all will make this mix and then let me know what you think about it. I just think it's one of the best things ever. Yeah, and here I put some grape jelly on there, and they are so good with jelly, butter, and some sort of jam. So tasty. All right, let's move on to the final recipe, which is my muffin mix. Once again, I will include the full recipe in the description box below. I went ahead and just used that food processor again. I didn't even wash it. I just wiped it out, and now I'm going to use it again for my muffin mix. This muffin mix recipe is in my first cookbook. I think I called it a multi-muffin master mix or something like that, just because it can serve as a base mix recipe, like a base muffin. And then you can customize the flavors. You can change the flavor of the muffin that you make. I'll talk about that in just a second, but this is the base mix right here. You're going to have your eggs in there, the vanilla, the salt, and the baking soda, baking powder, sugar, flour, all this kind of thing. And then I'm going to add a couple of spices in here to give you just a little bit of a hint of some spice. I'm going to include some cinnamon and some nutmeg, but those are optional. I do think that cinnamon kind of goes with pretty much everything. Even if I turn this into a chocolate muffin, I think the cinnamon is nice in there, and it's just a teaspoon, but you can leave that out. I would say maybe still include a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg so it has a little bit of a hint of something in the background, like a depth of flavor. I do recommend you at least do that, even if you leave out the cinnamon. So I go ahead and pulse those dry ingredients on their own. And then again, I'm going to add the fat to the mix. So that way you don't have to add any kind of fat when you cook these muffins. And like I said at the beginning, I'm going to make mug muffins. So a little, either a coffee mug or I use a ramekin, just one muffin at a time. And since the fat is already in the mix, all you have to do when you cook it is add water. If you want to know how I did the original recipe for like an entire pan of muffins, I do have a video up on my channel that shows you that whole thing. So that is what the muffin mix looks like. It's nice and kind of just homogeneous. Like it just looks like a smooth mix, right? You don't see big clumps of fat or anything in there, right? You want it nice and smooth and all together mixed up really well. I'm storing that in a 1/2 gallon size jar, but it will fit in a quart. Okay, there's my multi-muffin master mix. That was from my first cookbook. All right, let me show you how to make a mug muffin. So this is going to be a single muffin in a mug, or I'm using a ramekin. So it's like 4 tablespoons of the mix, 2.5 to 3 tablespoons of water, and then you can add whatever your add-ins are. Here I put mini chocolate chips, a tablespoon of those. Or you could do a handful of blueberries. Or you could do 2 or 3 tablespoons of like mushed up banana. You can add more spices. If you do like a banana muffin, you can add some cinnamon to it. So see, that's what I mean about these being totally customizable. Use your imagination, make whatever kind of muffin you want. That's what you're looking for. How it bounces back. Mine is just 1 minute in the microwave. Every microwave is a little bit different, I think. So for my microwave, it's 1 minute is perfect for these little mug muffins. All right, I'm going to show you the chocolate version of the mug muffin. If chocolate muffins are your favorite, then you can add the cocoa powder to the master mix too. But here I have added just 1 teaspoon of cocoa powder to the 4 tablespoons of the muffin mix. And then I think I ended up adding like 3.5 tablespoons or so of water. That was perfect. I thought, oh no, maybe I put too much water in there, but I mixed it up and it ended up being just amazing. I remember just how much my daughter loved those little mini muffins. I think they're Little Debbie brand mini muffins. Oh my goodness, she loved them so much when she was in middle school. But now she can just make herself a fresh muffin, like one at a time whenever she needs one. It's pretty great. It's 1 minute in the microwave, and then you've got like a single serve chocolate muffin. Now I put a tablespoon of the mini chocolate chips in that one too. But I wanted to show you just how tender these things are. They're soft and tender and just wonderful. You see how moist that interior is on that muffin? It's fantastic. Now, since I use the ramekin, they're a little bit wider and flatter. If you want a taller muffin, just put it in a coffee mug. Well, all right. Thank y'all so much for joining me today during my pantry restock. I hope you enjoyed the video and the recipes. And if you don't mind, please be a friend and leave me a comment below. Even a smiley face helps. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe. I appreciate that so much. All right, I have a verse for you for today. This is Psalm 16, verse 11, and it reads, "You make known to me the path of life. In your presence there is fullness of joy. At your right hand are pleasures forevermore." Like, what an encouraging verse that is. I hope it encourages your heart. All right, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day, a fantastic week. God bless you. And until next time, y'all take care and keep thriving.